Hello, 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 Capricorn. This is G. We're going to do your May 2023. We have a lot to talk about. We have another eclipse coming, and we're going to find out where it happens in your life. Along with two other events for May. It has to do with our values, and for some of us, our money. We got to kind of set up the beginning of the month of May because the eclipse happens right at the front end of the month. And I am looking for my magical pen. But Taffy was just in here, and she loves playing with the pens. She rolls them around and bats them down and thinks that they're her soccer ball. And I found it. So here we go. May 2023. And we have an eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio energy, the rulers are Mars and Pluto. Mars and Pluto. What does Scorpio do? It's born for war. It can fight. That's Mars. It can be impulsive. It wants to be first. So it's going to just go out and act. It's going to go out and do. It's not going to wait, right? It's going to just go ahead and run for that line. Or it's going to say them, there are fighting words, right? That's like Scorpio energy. You kind of want to make sure they're on your team, not on the other team. You want to be on the team that they're on because they also have Pluto. Scorpio has Mars and Pluto. And Pluto brings the deep understanding and knowing and psychic energy, those intuitions, but they go deep because Pluto can penetrate. It can penetrate another person's energy, right? So the Scorpio people tend to know things about other people because of their Pluto power. Pluto can show up in their life and tell them things, and they don't even know how they know these things. They just do. And they probably even may think at times that everybody knows what they know. Now, I understand this is a Capricorn reading, but it's an eclipse in Scorpio. Scorpio can also be about our wounds, our vulnerabilities, the things that are they're like so raw. So we keep them, they're buried deep, right? Like those still waters that run really deep. It's like, how deep does that go? We don't really know. And have you ever been there? Do you know what is at the bottom? Do you know what your deepest, darkest wound is? And it can be kind of a bit of a mystery for some folks, right? It takes a lot of psychology to go through all that and to dig through all of that. Scorpio is a great researcher, right? They dig deep. They're like the archaeologists. They're digging and digging and digging, and they're digging ultimately to reveal what's at the foundation, what's at the bottom there. All right. And so many times people may be surprised, right? There can be vulnerabilities with extreme events. These could have to do with friendships because that is typically where your Scorpio energy is. Let me double check my chart to make sure. We're doing Capricorn. Yes, your 11th house. Now, this can be groups. I said friends, but this can be groups, social services, working within groups, but people that we consider friends, like when we're out within a group, right? Whether we attend, I don't know, what are things you do in your group energy? Some people are online in their group energy because that's 11th house, right? It's like YouTube. It's like when you're going to, and you're in a chat room and like a whole bunch of other people are there, or chat under a live stream, like that's communications, but it's on a electrical way, right? Using devices, 11th house, right? The internet, 11th house, but it's deep bonds. These are people that you are really deeply connected to because there's like that Pluto, that soul power connected, right? So there's no like, it's like this. You meet people and there's just that soul to soul understanding. You guys can feel it. You vibe together. It's not about necessarily having to have had a similar experience, although it can be, right? Because that's how we get like the understanding and the camaraderie. Think about a band of brothers, people who have gone to war together, right? There's like a camaraderie they have, and you can't really break that because they've been through something tragic usually, war, and something that, like, they've seen that you haven't. They've seen or they've done or they've experienced, they've witnessed, and you haven't. But their brothers in arms, brothers and sisters in arms have. And so they understand something that is so deep, possibly so dark, possibly so undesirable that they may not feel like they really fit in at times. Right. When I talk to some Scorpio people with a lot of that energy, they kind of feel almost like, not, I won't say alienated, but think about like the stories of Pluto, right? In Hades, and how it's, down there doing work that nobody wants to do, right? It's in the deep, in the dark. And yeah, it's like it's part of the world, but it's not talked about. It's part of the world, but it's hidden, right? And that's kind of Scorpio. It's the hidden. It's like the astral realm. It's like it exists, but we don't really embrace it. We don't talk about it because our physical eyes don't necessarily see it. So in a way, in our world, in our 3D world, we feel like if we can't see it, this is what makes it real. Because you can hear it, you can see it, you can feel it. It's got mass, it's got weight. So this must be real. But that's not Scorpio. Not at all. This is in your 11th house of friendships. This is group energy. So there's something there where you have friends where there's going to be that deep connection, but these might not be you may not see these people all the time, right? These could even be with people online. So you may not have actually physically even seen them, right? But you have the ability to connect deeply with people that you've never even met. There's going to be like that soul history that comes in, right? There's going to be that thing that you just can't explain or can't put your finger on. This, because it's Pluto, because it's about meaningful conversation, meaningful communications, it's about purpose, right? It's doing meaningful work, it's power. All right, it's group energy and power. And so likely you may have some great examples of how that looks in your life, and I would love to hear about it. Comment down below and let me know. If you don't have your chart and if you need help and you want to know about like the degrees and the dates, and even if you're watching and you're a Capricorn birthday, then you don't know what your rising sign is, right? Because this video is going to be most accurate for those that are a Capricorn on the rising. And that, without going into the details, there's depth and understanding, and it comes with the cycles and the timing. And that's why we look at rising signs, the cycles and the timing of the planets up in the sky. Okay. So this eclipse is a releasing and an ending. It's a south node eclipse, letting it go. South node, it's a release. It's part of the past, the south node, releasing something from the past. Could be friends because it's in your 11th house. Maybe it's just a digital platform you used to work on or have fun on, right? That you used to congregate on, social communications, right? And you decided this isn't for me anymore. It could be as simple as that. The degrees are 1458. Look in your chart for 1458 of Scorpio to figure out where that is, because you might have a house cusp line, you might have another planet there. If you don't know and you want to know, just comment to me below and I will figure that out for you. This is a lunar eclipse. Okay, so it's the south node. We already talked about that, the past, and it's a release and a let go. And lunar, full moon is what that means. So it could be emotions. It could have something to do with family, friends that felt like family. It may even have to do with family members that you were friendly with, but it's online either way. Typically online, but it doesn't have to be limited to online. It's social causes. So when you're with people and we have like this common goal, we have a common shared value, to be more accurate, because it's Scorpio, a common shared value. That's Scorpio energy. Okay. Full moons are usually completions, usually endings. And that's what this is, a full moon in Scorpio. It's an eclipse because it's near the south node in Scorpio. And that's how you get the releasing and the ending. And Scorpio energy all by itself, it is about, I'm going to let this shared value go. I'm releasing it. I have to heal. I've been carrying something around, something deep, possibly something hidden, and it's time to let it go. Okay. So that breaks down the eclipse for the beginning of the month. And then as we move on through May, we have Mercury doing its retrograde, but finishing and completing its retrograde. And it's in the opposite sign of Scorpio. The eclipse happened here, 11th house. Mercury is over here in your 5th house. Fun, children, joy, creativity, romance, mating, dating, relating. It's Taurus, so it's 5 senses. What do you value? Who do you value? Do you value yourself? What do you do for fun? Taurus, think of the 5 senses, right? Think of the creature comforts, smell, taste, touch, clothing, food. Think of like getting the hair, the nails, massage. Think of the things, shopping, going out and dining. That would totally be Taurus energy in the 5th. Totally. Because the 5th is like what I do for fun. So there can be entertainment in there. Sports activities may be considered entertainment for you. You can think about Taurus and money and banking, investing. There might be a little bit of that and possibly gambling, but Taurus is smarter than that. It's usually quite cautious with its money. It likes fine art. It likes fine art, and that would be a smart investment if somebody was looking to invest. Not that I'm one of those people, but this is a strong placement for that. It says I'm cautious, I'm careful. If I'm going to do something like this, often makes me think, because Taurus wants something tangible in return. It's like, okay, if I'm going to spend something on something, I should get something back that I can hold in my hand, right? If I can hold it, I own it. That would be Taurus, right? So because we have Uranus in Taurus, there's a lot of this digital crypto and all that going on too. Right. And so it's like, okay, I'm trying to figure all that out. And that's what the Mercury retrograde is about. It goes through that 5th house and it says, what do you value? Who do you value? You're reevaluating, you're reprioritizing your money, but also fun and love and romance. Yeah, fun, love, and romance, right? Mating, dating, relating, because this is the house of Venus and Mercury's going through there. So it's possible some of you may have a communication from somebody that you at one time, maybe somebody approached you and you were like, oh, no, I don't think so. I don't see this person that way. And there might be another communication. There might be an opportunity to redo or to reconnect, right? Because it's do-overs, right? It's Mercury. It says, well, I thought about it, but then I said, nah. And then like, I'm thinking about it again, because here we are, Mercury and Taurus. But just know that retrograde doesn't really, truly, the effects of the retrograde don't end until the end of May. And that's important because if you make a decision, you really want to wait to the latter part of the month because Mercury is going to change its mind. You follow? So you just kind of want to wait until you get through all of that hesitation and like doing homework and researching and collecting data and then realizing there was something that was missing, having to go back and go get it. Mercury and Taurus have to go back and find what I value. Could be just a piece of paper or a communication that was missing. And once you have all of that towards the end of the month, then you'll be in a better position to make a better decision, a more informed decision. So then this next takes us to the 19th. New moon in Taurus, right? Just like Mercury is retrograding through Taurus, there's a new moon in Taurus. So values, again, in your 5th house. Children, fun, joy, creativity, romance, mating, dating, relating, creating. Keep that in mind for those of you who might be having a good time with good time with the bodies. Do you want a baby? Like, this is really creative energy. New moons are the sun and the moon together, father and mother energy, right? So you choose what works for you and what it is, where your priorities are at. 5th house is children. Yeah. A child is a creation, but it can also be literally going in the kitchen, making some food. Like, oh, that's my creation. It could be painting. That's my creation. How does it show up for you in your life? What do you do with your creativity? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have any questions, make sure you put those there so I can figure out how to better help you figure how this works out for you. Now, to find out, listen for the degrees, and the degrees are 28. It's high degree in Taurus energy. It's really up there. It's almost at 29. It's 28, 25. So this tells us this is a really mature Taurus energy. It's mature. It thinks about its values. It's calculated. It wants peace. That's Taurus. It wants peace. So it's not going to entertain a relationship that's filled with drama. All right. Even though it's in a placement of I like drama because it's in the house of Leo, when it comes down to like in the home, it wants peace. It doesn't want someone who's going to be messing around with finances, right? No funning, no funky stuff, right? It wants it to be clear and honest. Yeah, peace is a big deal. Venus is here, so the creature comforts. The creature comforts are huge. So it likes things that are appealing and desirable. That's Venus. Like, oh, that person looks good. That person smells good. Like, that's Venus. It's all about the senses, the five senses in the body, right? And so sometimes we have to be careful with that we don't let those sensations, draw us in and lock us in, because Venus is all about how I want to receive, right? When you have a new moon with Taurus, it's a time to set intentions, because Taurus energy is like a magnet. It can draw to it what it desires. So think very carefully about that which you desire. Think carefully about your values. Once we do that, once we have that kind of self-talk, that self-conversation, we can then bring into our life what it is that we want and the who. Remember, fifth house: children, fun, joy, creativity, romance, mating, dating, and relating. What do you want for your future? Because the North Node is here in Taurus, and it is serious. It's thinking about who will be a part of my future. Do I want children in my future? What about the earth? What about the earth? Big deal, right? Absolutely. How does my partner play into that? Does it have to be somebody who cares about the earth? Right? Like, these are all these things that are very important, because the food factor is really important, right? Very important. You can connect the dots in a lot of different ways. So this new moon gives you that opportunity, and it's a mature energy because it's at 28:25. Now, this is on the 19th of May. Taurus new moon 28:25 at 10:53 a.m. That is in my time zone, which is Central Time Zone. So adjust for where you live, and that would be like the hour of power of making, like, writing your intentions down, having, pray or do a little ceremony, whatever works for you. Whatever works for you, maybe possibly speaking it into the ethers, because Taurus rules the spoken word. Think about that. Think about that. Right. So this is an earth energy. In Capricorn, you are an earth energy. So if you don't know anything at all, just let me explain. Earth trines earth in a very beneficial way. It brings ease. So if you are working with this, you can bring something into your life that you truly value, and it has everything to do with your future and your happy place. Who can be a part of that for you? What does that look like? And that's it. That is your May 2023, Cappy. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you need help, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Below the video, I'll have all the degrees for those of you who like to pay attention to the degrees in your chart. Again, if you don't know and you want to know, just comment below.